What's up, O'Brien Army? So, today I'm going to talk a little about manhood. No, nothing disgusting, but I'm going to settle some things that I've been seeing a lot throughout my life. And I'm going to tell you what a man really looks like apart from what people tell you as a man. So, usually people tell you, "Oh, men don't cry. Oh, men don't get scared." Well, those are usually the last people that act like a man. So any real man can admit that they're scared. Any real man any real man can cry in front of everybody and then admit to that too. Any real man can any real man can actually talk their emotions out instead of fighting like they think is a man. People think that fighting makes you a better man. So usually the people that like to play the tough guy card and say, "Oh, I'm a bigger man than you cuz I know how to fight." Yeah? Well, it may sound crazy, but those people actually act like 5-year-olds. Real men only fight when they absolutely have to. If they don't have to fight, they're going to use their words. A real man likes to fight with their words, not their hands and feet or their weapons. Now, I've heard over the years that I've been alive, I I used to roughhouse with my older brother, and he told me and he told me that weapons are for ninnies. Well, that's true to most extent. For the most part, that's true, but it doesn't make you less of a man to want to protect yourself. So if there's someone using a weapon against you, don't be afraid to use a weapon to fight back, because that makes you a man in that circumstance. Under those circumstances, are you still a man for using weapons to fight? But if you're just using weapons because you don't know how to fight with your bare hands, then you are a coward. And like I said, a true man can cry in front of a and can cry in a room, can stand up and cry in a room full of people and admit that they cried. Only a true man can get scared and admit that they're afraid. And only a true man can use their words to settle disagreements instead of fighting. Only a true man can admit that they had a bad day. So, next time somebody comes up to you and plays the tough guy card, and then they call you a wuss because you cried or you were afraid. Next time somebody makes fun of you for that and calls you a coward, you can tell that person to take a look in the mirror because you're an even bigger man than they are. I can admit that I've cried at least a trillion times, give or take, in my life, and I still feel like a man. I can tell you that I've been afraid several millions of times, probably, give or take, and I still feel like a man. A true man can also admit that they made a mistake. I can tell you for sure that I've made quite a few mistakes in my life, and I still feel like a man. I think there was one time when I actually cried on camera. I was actually live streaming when I cried on camera. It may have only lasted a few seconds and I may not have had any tears, but yeah, I was live streaming when I cried on camera. There's no shame in admitting that you cried or that you were afraid or anything like that. You know why? Because you're showing that you're emotionally stronger. You're showing that you're not afraid of being humiliated for it. So when people start humiliating you and making fun of you for doing those things, if they start calling you names like baby or wuss or coward, you can tell that person to take a look in the mirror because you're an even bigger man than they are. A man is not a man until they can do those things. I can tell you I've made a bunch of mistakes in my life too. And I still feel like a man. Anyone who thinks they're a man because they can play the tough guy card or because they know how to fight, those guys aren't men. They're wannabes. They're afraid of showing their sensitive side. I can tell you I was weak in that sense at some point in my life. I was afraid of showing my sensitive side for the longest time. So yeah, I'm a bigger man. I'm a man because I can admit all that. I can admit to all that, so I'm a man. I must have cried at least 1 billion times in my life, give or take. I've been afraid. I've probably been afraid more. I've probably been afraid just as many times, if not more. I can tell you that I've made mistakes in my life too. You notice how prisoners, people in prison, usually like to play the tough guy card, and they see vulnerability in people who cry. Well, those people are all wannabes. They think they have to use violence to be a better man, and that's not true. That actually makes them even worse of a man. If you're a man, you don't have to use violence to get your way. Only a true man can talk about their feelings like a man instead of fighting and using their fists to show how they feel. You can't be a man and you can't say you're a man and then just sit there and hide your emotions. You can't be a man and be afraid to admit that you were scared. You can't be a man and then use your hands and feet or your weapons to get your way because nobody will listen to you. Those people are freaking wannabes. They're wannabes. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. So like and subscribe, leave a comment, and click the bell notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.